Bom, voltando. Tive problemas técnicos. Vamos lá, continuando. Agora parte 3 porque eu não vi gerar parte 2. Parte 3. Vamos lá, eu tava lendo o jornal, né? Eu tava lendo. Eros? Não. Era Hermes. Ahn. Olha, Calliope, Hermes eu li. Apolo. Ah, eu falei do Apolo. Que eu. Ah, vamos ver, né? O que vai acontecer com ele. Atena, mano. Atena. A Persephone riu quando perguntei sobre a Atena ser suspeita. Foi tipo uma sugestão ridícula. A Atena, a existência de Atena é baseada em proteger os ídolos. E aparentemente ela nunca quebraria as próprias regras. Ela parece engraçada. E Persephone. ah, as coisas começaram a ficar feias entre o Apollo e a Persephone. Muito rápido, muito rápido. Apolo. 2 minutos depois. É mais ou menos um resumo do que aconteceu com cada personagem, né? Da visão da personagem, nossa personagem. O nome dela é Grace. Agora, ela é minha aliada agora. Aqui é quando eu tinha encontrado no Night Club, né? Eu pedi desculpa a ela e tudo mais. Ela é minha aliada agora, eu acho. Ela disse isso. E os ídolos, eles realmente. Por trás da Calliope, os que conhecem a Calliope, por trás da morte da Calliope, ela. Todo mundo parece estar envolvido. Tá difícil. O Pen. Oh, o Pen. Nem Apollo, nem. é, nem Penélope, nem a Penélope não, Persephone. Nem Apolo consideraram o Pen suspeito. Ele não é um assassino, de acordo com eles. Mas ele ter surgido, se envolvido, é realmente suspeito. E Eros. Eu conheci Eros. Ele tava andando no Underworld, olhando a Turkish. O que é isso? Ele tava olhando a galera lá. Ele tem um tipo de assassino. Mas. Mano, eu não acho que ele matou ninguém. Não desse jeito, pelo menos. Ele. Eu acho que ele não vai causar problema, não. Tudo bem. Tá, a gente tem. Estamos no dia 2, oficialmente no dia 2. E temos 3 lugares pra ir. Porém, eu não sei se isso é uma escolha. Eu espero que não. Porque tá dizendo aí que eu devia conversar com a Penélope ou ir ver o PN. Ah, Eu vou falar com o Apolo. Eu acho que não vai. Ele não vai passar eu vou falar com a Perséfone. Eu quero seguir a história com ela. Acho que ela vai ser mais útil, então. Só pra ter certeza de que eu vou ir com ela.
Oh, back already, are you? It's just as well. I've asked around, called in some favors, just enough to get an idea of what all the idols are currently up to. Much as I'm loath to admit it, I'm back to thinking Pan may be our prime suspect after all.
Ah, mudou o
Why
seu.
Pan? I thought you'd rejected him as a suspect.
I did. It doesn't seem like his style. Pan has always preferred scheming over direct confrontation. But the thing is, how did he know about you so quickly? What does he hope to gain by sticking his nose in?
A favor or two, I guess.
Half the idols owe him a favor or two. No, he's up to something else.
Tá aprontando alguma
Until I
coisa,
know
com
what it is,
certeza.
I can't discount the possibility that he's involved in all this.
You should know. Pan asked me to meet him at Olympus. I'm not sure why.
Oh, that's interesting. Did he happen to say what he wanted?
No. He probably wants to cash in his favor.
Huh, that's what he does. Collect favors and then use them to gather even more favors. To what end, I dare not guess.
Ok. Mas tem um motivo. Não é melhor ver ele?
Should I not go see him then? If he's our best suspect.
No. Go see what he wants. It'll provide insight into his plans, if nothing else.
Just throw caution to the wind, huh?
Somehow you'll manage.
Tá bom.
I want to send you to a party, Grace, one Aphrodite is holding. She and Eros know Pan perhaps better than anyone. If you go, it'll give you a chance to find out what he's really up to.
Por que você. Por que você não quer conversar com a Afrodite? Não pode. Porque a festa. Eu vou tentar só conversar com ele.
You know Aphrodite better than I do. Can't you talk to her?
She and I don't get along.
Like how you and Apollo don't get along?
Even more intensely than that. I once said some things about her husband. They were true, but unwelcome. Suffice it to say, if I showed up at Aphrodite's party, revealing Pan's secrets would be the last thing on her mind.
Ok, então. Bem, a gente é casado, né? É a deusa do amor, né?
I still have that invitation from Pan. Maybe it'd be easier if I just went to see him.
You should do both. Just don't believe a single word coming out of his mouth.
I might be able to coax some truth out of
Eu
him.
não acredito nele,
I can
pode
be
ter certeza.
persuasive.
A battle of the silver tongues, I'm sure.
Por que
Why a
festa?
party?
Que festa?
Couldn't I just go wherever she lives and ask her?
You could, but if you go to this party, she'll be grateful. She holds it from time to time and always asked Calliope to attend, but Calliope never would. You can put two and two together. A grateful Aphrodite might be willing to tell you what Pan is really up to.
One wild party with a goddess of love coming up.
It's less of a wild party and more of a somber affair.
You mean like a cocktail party?
Let me put it this way. Apollo will likely be there.
Gotcha. Expectations of fun downgraded considerably. I'll let you know what I find.
Vambora. Aphrodite's Party. Vou falar com o Apolo. Acho que tem como eu só skipar e não falar com o Apolo, mas eu quero ir falar com o Apolo. Olá, Apolo. Ei.
Grace,
Oi.
Told you she'd be back.
what are you doing here? When you stayed with Persephone, I thought that... Well, I didn't expect to see you again.
É por quê? É por quê?
I thought I'd
Queria-
check in on you. The way you left, well, it was quite the scene.
Ah, yes. That. I want to apologize for my outburst. Being around my family brings out the worst in me, I'm afraid. It's why I avoid them whenever possible, and why I should have resisted getting dragged into all this.
A Calliope precisa da sua ajuda. Tudo isso.
Apollo, everything you sang about still applies, even if you got angry.
I know.
We all make mistakes. You pick yourself up, and you try again for Calliope's sake.
I'll think about it, Grace. I promise. For now, you're in far better hands.
I'll hold you to that. Don't think I won't.
Ok. Ok, ele vai ficar meio distante. Tudo bem. Eu vou falar com o Pera. É uma escolha. Vou falar com ele, vou falar com ele. Espero que eu tenha ido no lugar certo. Eu não posso acreditar no que ele fala, viu?
I'd say hello, Grace, but I'm afraid that look on your face might be catching.
What is this place?
It's a garden, darling. Surely
Jardim.
even mortals have them.
This building. All those people I pass getting up here. Are they all idols?
Oh, at least some of them. Welcome to Olympus, dear Grace. Our home hidden away in plain sight. Marvelous,
Okay.
isn't it?
O Olympus escondido. Quando os idols tem aqui. Por que você me pediu pra ver?
I've
Olympus
passed this part of the
escondido.
city 100 times. I've never seen this building. Was it always here? Or
Our Lady Hecate provides glamours that allow certain things to go unseen, such as my glorious horns. Olympus is the same. Those invited see it. Those who aren't see exactly what they expect. It's not anywhere as grand as in the old country, but it serves its purpose.
Ok. Quantos são os
how many idols are there?
tem aqui?
I've met, what, less than 12?
Oh, I don't know, 20, 30. Our numbers have dwindled so much I've stopped keeping track.
I didn't know there were that many gods.
We're not all equally legendary, it's true. Some idols were barely worshipped, others not at all. Indeed, not all of us are idols. Some are merely immortal. Hangers on, if you will. You'll meet them all, given time.
Ok.
I don't know, Pam. Olympus seems pretty grand to me.
As if mortals would know any better. This isn't the first time you've been here. I'm sure Hermes took you to Athena's dreary office.
That's here? Huh.
Good one, that Hermes. Almost as dull-witted as the original, but biddable.
Ok. De novo?
Idols live here? I mean, Calliope didn't, obviously. Apollo doesn't
A
either.
Liv.
One must have special dispensation from Our Lady of Wisdom, Athena, before they can take up a private dung heap like Apollo's.
Am I gonna have to give up my apartment?
That's rather putting the cart before the horse, darling. First, you must outlive the week.
Right. Good point. You asked me to meet you here?
I did. Though I feared you might decline, considering your rather callous rejection earlier. Regardless, my pride is intact, as is the favor you owe me, which I now wish to collect.
Ok. O aspecto desse. Persephone estava certo sobre você. Eu não vou quebrar regras por você. Não vou quebrar regras por você.
Fine. But just so you know, I'm not doing anything that's against the rules. I already have one trial coming.
Grace, baby, Boobala, have I ever led you astray?
Not yet.
Here's the thing. A friend has begged for my help, and you're far better suited than I to offer what he requires. I'll give you a key to reach the reliquary where he resides. You help him, and then we're even. If that's not enough incentive, the reliquary is also where you'll find the lovely Hecate. A sorceress of her power could aid your quest. What do you say?
Acho
This
que
Hecate,
a Hecate vai me
do you think she
ajudar.
could help me?
If she's of a mind. She is the goddess of dark magic, the creator of all our marvelous glamours. If anyone can help you, it is she.
And if she's not of a mind?
Then she won't help you. Grace, that part is up to you. I can't be expected to do everything, can I?
What is this reliquary? Doesn't that have something to do with the bones of saints or something?
Not those relics. Our relics. The relics of ancient gods. Magical treasures collected over thousands of years. Books, mainly. We store them in a faraway place so no one unsavory can get their hands on them.
Unsavory like you?
Unsavory like most. Athena has decreed that these relics are not to be used by any save Hecate and herself. A rather dull waste of so much amassed knowledge and power, but who am I to judge? I'm not leader of the chorus.
If these relics are off limits, does that mean they're dangerous?
Some, but I'm not asking you to chase after any of that nonsense. In fact, I'd advise against it.
But what if one of those relics could help me?
My, such an adventurer you are. It's possible, but ask Hecate first. She, and I mean this with complete and uncharacteristic seriousness, is not an idol you or anyone wishes to cross.
Ok, que tipo de favor é
This
esse?
person I'm to help, what does he want? And why can't you do it?
Well, Grace, there are some things you're better equipped to handle than I. This, as I understand it, is a delicate matter of the heart. One that requires a muse's hand.
A matter of the heart.
What, did you think I was sending you to rough someone up? Set something aflame? Don't be absurd. The man has an issue with his love life. Even if you can't help him, I'll treat the effort as worth the favor.
É isso?
So that's it? Fix up someone's love life? Nothing trickier than that?
Oh, the way you talk, Grace. It makes me blush.
Well, it's just that...
I trade in willing favors, Grace. If I didn't, no one would want to do as I ask, and then where would I be? I may seem untrustworthy, but allow me to reassure you. If I wish you harm, you will walk into that harm knowingly, and with open arms.
Ali, precisa de... Ok, vou fazer. Tá bom.
Okay, okay. I didn't mean to insinuate anything. I just have no idea what you're getting me into.
Nothing more than you can handle, Grace. And you can handle a lot more than you know.
I'm not sure that's true.
There you go. Making my point for me.
Tudo bem.
I'll think about it. But no promises.
Marvelous. The gentleman you seek is named Asterion. Lovely fellow, quite harmless. I'll send a package to your domicile that contains directions and the key you'll need to reach the reliquary.
I said no promises.
Well, if you decide to go, Grace, you'll still need all those things. Say hello to darling Hecate on my behalf, will you?
Eu posso ir atrás da Reliquary da Relicário. Ou eu posso ir pra festa da Afrodite. Eu vou pra festa da Afrodite, eu acho que é mais importante. Se eu puder ir pra Relicário depois. É porque talvez ele seja tipo uma side. Eu vou fazer principal. Se eu conseguir depois, eu vou. Podia ter falado com a Persephone, né?
Fancy party? Check. Bunch of strangers? Check. Grace totally not dressed for the occasion? Check. Now, if only I knew what I was supposed to be doing here.
Grace? You're here.
Yeah, I'm invited, aren't I?
I'm
Well,
just
okay.
surprised you even knew it was happening.
Persephone said I should come to this. Whatever this is.
Persephone didn't tell you? Why am I not surprised?
Eu preciso da ajuda da Afrodite. Você não devia falar comigo. Você não parece bom. Não devia me falar. I can offer its help.
Persephone said Aphrodite could help me and that she'd be grateful I came. That's it.
Persephone's not wrong, but that's not the entire story. You don't have any of Calliope's memories, right? No déjà vu recollections that aren't your own?
No. Should I have?
Not right away. For a while, you won't remember anything. We call it the veil.
Veil.
In time, the veil will start to lift, slowly at first, but eventually you'll remember almost everything Calliope did.
Vai acontecer comigo? Foi o que o que Hermes disse, né? Parece muito legal. Ninguém me falou sobre isso. Ninguém me falou
Seems
sobre
like the
isso.
sort of thing you should tell a new idol.
New idols are usually chosen. You would know about this already, except...
Except Calliope was murdered.
Well, remember how old we all are. There are so many memories. so the veil lifts gradually to protect you. Eventually, it's like a flood. It becomes difficult to separate what's you and what's them, and all who came before them.
Eu vou ficar bem. Vou virar a Calliope. Eu não sei exatamente o que pensar sobre isso. Cara. Parece horrível. Eu não sei o que pensar.
That's a lot to take in. I'm not sure what to think.
I understand. Take some time to let it sink in. If you like, we can talk about it later.
What does this have to do with the party?
Aphrodite hasn't been the same since we came to the New World. She has horrific memories of what she endured during the war. Passing on her eidolon is a way to forget, for a while. That's what this party is for.
Afrodite vai morrer. Vai ter uma festa pra isso?
Why throw a party for it? Doesn't that mean everyone's here to...
Watch her die? Yeah, I suppose so. We're also here to celebrate. We're here to help Aphrodite remember before she forgets again.
Yeah, sounds like a real banger.
This party isn't for us, Grace. It's for her.
Apoia isso.
Do you support what Aphrodite is doing here?
It's not my choice to make, Grace.
Yeah, but you must have an opinion.
Eventually, you will remember what we experienced during the war. And eventually, you will remember that what Aphrodite experienced was far worse. If this is the mercy she requires, I will not tell her she should not take it.
Não, porra. Morre como quiser. Cada morre como
This
quiser.
isn't the first time Aphrodite's done this. She's held this kind of gathering before, right?
This is her fourth, I think, perhaps fifth.
So every time the veil, whatever you call it, when it starts to lift...
Aphrodite's memories return, and eventually it is too much. We gather to pay our respects and to honor the past. Well, she still remembers it.
Ok. Calliope não
Wait,
aprovaria?
wait. Persephone said Calliope always refused to come to these parties.
She refused on principle. Everything Calliope did was on principle. She believed Aphrodite was indulging her sadness, wallowing in it. She thought Aphrodite should try harder. It was a point of contention between them. Aphrodite will be grateful you're here. Trust me.
Okay, so what did Aphrodite want Calliope to do? What does she want me to do?
Well, knowing Aphrodite, she'll want you to make a production of it all. She's not here just yet. Until she arrives, I suggest mingling.
Mingling.
Yeah, mingling. Talk to Eros. Or we can talk more if you like. Just try to relax, Grace.
Sure, yeah. Relax. That's what this party is for, right?
Grace!
Hey, Eros. Nice to...
Eu esqueci de botar.
Oh,
Olá, Eros.
okay.
Aphrodite
abraço.
will be so happy you're here. It means so much you have no idea.
É. Tá
Are
bem?
you okay? You seem a bit...
Ah, ele tava meio
Every
triste por
time
conta
she does
disso
this,
ontem.
I don't know how to handle it. I almost want to run upstairs and demand she stop. Remind her that this never works. Sorry, I shouldn't unload on you. It's been a bad week.
Ok. Ok, eu tô
Hey,
aqui
hey,
vendo.
I understand. This can't be easy.
É.
She's the one who is suffering. I shouldn't be complaining. I just hate this. I'm there every day, going through it all with her. The nightmares, the panic attacks, the weeks when she just won't get out of bed. I'm there when she forgets the war's over, and I hold her until the screaming stops. Me. I do that.
That sounds awful.
And now I'm arranging her gathering again, so she can die again. And I'll watch it all again.
Ok. O que aconteceu com a
Is it okay if
Afrodite?
I ask what happened? I don't mean to pry, but I'm new. I really don't know.
No, it's okay. I wouldn't usually talk about it, but I know you don't mean any harm. What happened is that brother Ares happened. He missed out on the first
Ares.
spanning
O Eros e o
He was
Eres.
damned if he'd miss out on the next one. He found some jack-booted mortals, so full of themselves and their supremacy. And he told them about the idols. Then they came for us. Took us completely by surprise. Some they killed, but Aphrodite, her they captured.
Oh.
Putz.
Yeah. Oh.
E a Afrodite conseguiu escapar. Tem outra. Não tenho. Tem
Is there no other
outra
way?
forma.
Does Aphrodite really need to...
To die? I've asked that so many times. She's tried magic, drugs, psychotherapy, meditation, everything we could possibly think of.
Não
For a while,
funciona?
she'll deny anything's wrong. It all seems fine, and I start to hope. Maybe this time will be different. Then the nightmares begin, and the memories return. More with each passing day until... I hate it, but I see her agony. I can't deny her this.
A Afrodite não consegue escapar. A Afrodite vai escapar. Não é tipo suicídio.
Maybe I just don't understand, but... Isn't this... like, suicide?
Some of the idols have committed suicide. They let themselves die without passing on their eidolon.
What happens?
What you'd expect. They're gone. Forever. Mother says she can't do that. She won't. Not until she sees Hephaestus again, I suspect. Not that what's happening here is anything casual. She still has to die. For a while.
Ok, ela vai escapar.
Aphrodite was captured, but she's here now. So she must have escaped.
Ela escapou.
She didn't. Do you know the name Hephaestus?
Hephaestus?
No. Should I?
God of smiths. He could make anything, any tool or weapon. He was Aphrodite's husband.
Ah.
When he found out the mortals were torturing her, he went mad. He was determined to save her.
Wait, they tortured her?
Nothing extreme, I'm told. They were too frightened, but they were also determined to wring every last secret out of her. So, who knows how long that fear would have lasted. Thus, Hephaestus made a deal.
With the, jackbooted guys.
No, with their enemies. That's what saved her.
Caramba. Me fala sobre
Then
esse
this deal is how Aphrodite
acordo.
survived.
It's how we all survived. It's what brought us to the new world. Hephaestus saved us all. We never saw him again. That was the deal. He would leave, make their precious weapons, and never look back. Aphrodite never even got to say goodbye. It's funny, because Aphrodite didn't even like Hephaestus when they were married. She seemed to resent every minute they were together. But now he's all she can think about.
Ela precisa de ajuda. Você não pode aprovar isso. Ela precisa de ajuda.
What is my part in all of this? I'll help if I can.
Aphrodite loves drama. She always has. She wants us here to remember, to celebrate our history.
Pô, mano.
She'll ask you to use your power as part of the celebration. Could you use it to inspire her?
Posso, Eros.
I can't force anyone to do anything they don't want to, Eros.
That's not what I'm asking. I believe that deep down, she doesn't want to do this any longer.
Tá bom.
She must see it isn't working. She just needs the strength to try.
Vou tentar,
Well, I hope
Eros.
that's all she needs.
Afrodite, pô. O que tá errado? Eu vou dar meu melhor,
I'll
mano.
try, if you think it'll do some good.
Eu vou dar meu melhor, cara, mas eu não sei se vou conseguir. Mas eu vou dar meu melhor. Eu vou tentar manter a Afrodite com a gente, mano.
Famous last words.
Tell me about it. Do whatever you think is right, Grace. And thank you.
Tamo junto, meu mano Eros. Coloca Apolo. Dale, Apolo.
I know all these people, Grace. For as long as I can remember, I've known them. Yet sometimes I feel like I don't know any of them at all. Or they me.
O Eros quer fazer isso parar.
I spoke to Eros. He's pretty broken up over all this.
Oh, poor Eros. Each new successor, his hopes rise up once more. And then he watches the new Aphrodite crumble. Piece by piece. Only to start all over again. It's so different from the olden days. Once he was the eternal disaster, and Aphrodite kept constant vigil over him.
Maybe he feels like he owes her.
I think he's followed her into a dark void, and somewhere, deep down,
Eu tinha dele triste.
believes he deserves no better.
Eu passo com
You don't
faltar.
enjoy these family gatherings, do you?
Are they family gatherings? Like the sort mortals have?
You call each other sister and brother and mother.
Well, yes, but
And you've been together like 100 times longer than I lived with my family. All you're missing is a drunk uncle everyone has to apologize for.
that would be Pan. But yes, I feel very much out of place.
Quando eu evitar eles. Porque isso. É triste.
That's kind of sad.
What is?
Spending an eternity among people you can't even stand to be with at a party.
Well, now I need another drink.
I should get back out there.
Eu não tinha nada pra falar com ele?
Back again.
I should get back out there.
Não, vou esperar então. E vamos de espera. Olá, Afrodite.
My family. Having you all here,
Essa menina
gathered
fala.
once again to see me off, it moves me. More than I can say. My loves, my darlings, my dearest friends. And you. Oh, my dear sweet thing. I dare not hope that you, with all your troubles, might sing me to my sleep. Yet here you are. Yet here she is.
Nice to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you, Aphrodite. Properly, this time.
Ah, yes. Poor Calliope. Such a loss to us all. I shall miss her dearly. To have come so far, only... No, it doesn't bear thinking about. It's too much.
Is this Grace, my lady? The new muse?
Bells.
What manners I have. Grace, Grace. Meet the lovely mortal woman who shall tonight become the new me.
Hi, my name's Venus, and yes, it really is Venus. Nice to meet you, Grace.
Nice.
Yeah, hi. Nice to meet you.
We'll both be new at this, huh? Maybe we could get together and compare notes if you,
Survive my trial?
Yeah. Lady Aphrodite told me. I shouldn't have brought that up. I'm sorry.
There will be so much time for you lovelies to speak later. Now, we must
Meu Deus, ela já
prepare for my
escolheu a
departure.
pessoa. Puta merda. Caramba, Eros. Eu preciso da sua ajuda.
Are you sure we can't talk first? I really need your help, Aphrodite.
I know you do, my dear. I wish I could be there for you, but I'm afraid my time is up. But since you've shown such kindness in coming, I will ask Eros to make himself available to you afterwards. There's nothing I know that he does not. He is my son, my truest friend, my longest love.
Won't he be... a little distracted?
Eros has been through this before, Grace. He knows what must be done.
Sorry.
I just want to
desculpa.
say... I'm really sorry
Desculpa.
that this happened to you, that you need to do this.
Babe in our dreary world, and yet already possessed of such earnest purpose.
Por que horas não ficou bravo comigo se eu...
Weren't you opposed to
see.
this, Grace?
Apollo! Oh, you've come after all.
You look remarkably well, cousin.
I've had a great deal of time to prepare. I assure you that would not be the case. As for you, Grace, have you gathered the true purpose of tonight's gathering?
Any cures?
I don't know. You like parties? Seems like a great excuse for one.
Oh, I do like parties. The orgies of Rome were
É isso.
exquisite. A sea of flesh and sweat and delights for every sense. Or perhaps it was a pleasant dream I once had. I can no longer tell. Tonight isn't about frivolity. Oh no. It's about honoring the memory of what once was while I yet retain it. Go! Enjoy the gathering, Grace! Tell me when you're ready to begin.
Cara, que situação, hein? Situação, hein? Apolo. Situação,
back
hein?
again.
Aphrodite não quer me
I don't
ajudar.
think I'll have a chance to talk to Aphrodite. Not before, you know.
Not surprising. Surely Persephone must have realized that.
How? She's never been to one of these things. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'd do now.
You have two choices, Grace. Either you do as she asks and sing her to her rest,
At which point Venus won't have Aphrodite's memories yet.
or you somehow convince her to remain with us and hope she's grateful.
And doesn't regret it. Or get angry at me for ruining her party.
É,
Do what you feel is right. It's a risk either way.
I should get back out there.
olha com a Vênus. Olá, Vênus.
I want to apologize again, Grace. I really messed up. It looks like I'll be doing that a lot. Lady Aphrodite said I'm ready, but I don't know.
Ah, ok. Tudo bem. Eu não tava muito preocupado com ela. Porque, sei lá, minha mãe que ela tava ansiosa pra poder ser Afrodite. Aí eu ia chegar lá e pé, acabar com tudo. Você não. Ah, minha. É que ela queria muito ser Afrodite. Eu ia chegar lá e acabar com tudo. Ia ser complicado, né? Bom, você não precisa estar pronta. Você não precisa estar pronta pra isso. Cara, você não precisa estar pronta, assim. É como se eu estivesse pronta pra poder virar. Eu não minto. Eu não me importo, caramba, que é isso não, mano. Eu não me importo não, mano, não me importo. Tá pensando melhor? Eu vou mandar, mano, você não precisa estar pronta. You can be
Being a
ready.
god isn't something you can really be ready for.
É,
I
mano.
mean, you are not gods, though. Are you? Not really.
You don't think so?
To me, you all just seem like people. Special people, sure, but flawed and lost, like the rest of us. If I can ask, what does it feel like after it happens? Do you feel
Porra.
different?
Diferente. Aconteceu muito rápido. Aconteceu
I'm
muito rápido.
not sure. It happened so fast I didn't know what to think. Calliope died and then all this happened.
You didn't remember anything? About her? Who she was? She was just gone?
Yeah. Isn't that the point of all this?
I just wanted to be sure. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it could be real.
Seu nome é realmente Vênus. Como você conheceu a Afrodite? Você tá bem com tudo isso? Não é
Your
realmente
name's
Vênus.
really Venus, huh?
Everybody asks me that. Even the other idols. Maybe that's why Lady Aphrodite noticed me in the first place. She says it was fated to be. I say it's because my mama was a diehard hippie.
Legal. Como é que você
How do
conheceu a
you know
Afrodite?
Aphrodite exactly?
So I was working at this homeless shelter, right? A couple of years ago, and she came in with one of the older residents. And she was there in this like amazing dress. And she's sitting with this guy and really listening to him. Like they were old friends or something. I just thought, what is someone like her doing in a place like this? So I just went over and introduced myself.
That's it? Just like that.
Yeah. She came back to the shelter a few times, but by then, I guess she'd taken an interest in me instead.
Ok, você tá bem com tudo isso?
Are you really okay with all this? You know what's gonna happen, right?
I saw a lot of people in crisis at the shelter. I knew something was wrong with Lady Aphrodite. She's in so much pain, Grace. She won't let you see how much. Errol's called me one night desperate. She wouldn't stop screaming. She didn't know where she was. She's a good person, Grace. A good soul. She deserves mercy.
Mas tem algo errado.
But don't you feel this is wrong? I mean, you're ending your life. It's like some kind of murder-suicide pact.
I don't think of it like that. Lady Aphrodite is not committing suicide, and I'm not being murdered.
Aren't you? Your life is ending. It's being taken over, swallowed up by Aphrodite's grief.
I'm becoming part of something bigger. Something amazing. Or maybe you're right. It'll be terrible, and I'll end up in so much pain I'll regret it.
So why go through with it?
Because Lady Aphrodite needs me. Maybe, just maybe, if I'm added into the mix of all the people she's been, maybe things will be different.
Caramba. Caramba, caramba. Ai, eu vou falar com a Apolo.
Back again.
Tô de volta. Conhece
Have you spoken with Venus?
menos?
She seems really...
Nice, earnest, a genuinely good person.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's not an accident. Ever since the war, Aphrodite has sought out the kindest, the most innocent souls to be her successors. She chooses them because she believes that over time, it might make her a better person. A more worthy person.
Wouldn't it be better if she chose people who were, I don't know, more resilient?
I suppose that depends on your definition of strength, Grace.
I should get back out there.
Que pariu. Ok, tá. Vamos lá, eu estou com medo do que vai acontecer. Vamos lá matar a Afrodite.
I have tried so hard, fought for so long, but in the end,
Todos
I
elas
must
são tão
bid you
bonitos,
all
né? São
farewell once
clarinhos,
again.
azul claro.
But before I go, I would like us all to remember the sacrifices that brought us here to this strange new world. This time, it is with the help of our lovely muse that we shall be guided. We let them rise. We let it happen. We waited far too long. We thought we shouldn't intervene. We were wrong. We were wrong.
Fala baixo.
Since the beginning we were hidden. We held court from up above. 'Twas the
Nossa, você...
golden age of reason, and I the queen of love. But a plague of hate was spreading, and there were vultures standing by. Before we fell to our knees begging, we fell from the sky. We let them rise, we let it happen. We waited far too long. We thought we shouldn't intervene. We were wrong, we were wrong. We sought shelter from the shadows, but were soon ripped from the dark. Those mortal souls that ended us were jealous from the start. They hunted me for power to fuel their psychopathic cause. And once they fell before me and worshipped all I was, they chased me down and threw me in a cage, held me prisoner for so long. I thought I'd win their hearts again,
Ok. É uma luta meio diferente. Tá.
Stayed until he made his sacrifice. The man that I ignored saved me when I fell. Yes, the husband I abhorred rescued me from hell. I thought it was a joke when it was said to me. He struck a deal with our enemy's enemy, made a secret weapon so my captors let me go. He gave up his freedom, leaving just a memory, and this love I'll never know is what he gave to me.
Amigos. Vou começar maciando.
I can't believe what I'm hearing today. If your story stops there, I've nothing to say. I can't imagine. I feel like a child who grew up too fast. The goddess of love can't get past the past. What good is a flame when everything's ash? I can't imagine. There's no excuse but mortals can tell. You know, there's no sweet release, it's ongoing. You know, everyone's here to bid me farewell. Can you imagine? I can imagine this really happened. I can't forgive the river's too deep. Its reflection won't lie, so just let me sleep. I can't let go of what could have been. Lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment.
Mother, I've stood by your side, now I no longer see the purpose of love when it tears at the center of me. My arrows are rusty, forget the bow, and I won't be begging you not to go. But when you're away, you leave us a broken home. And you leave me alone, lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment.
Você merece misericórdia. Você precisa viver. Ou eu não posso te dizer o que você tem que fazer. O que você quer fazer, o que você vai fazer. Você merece misericórdia. Ah, eu não posso dizer. É tipo. Se ela quer. Ela sente que isso vai resolver a vida dela. Depois de tudo que ela tentou. Eu acabei de chegar, tá ligado? Eu não vou gritar com ela falando que ela não tem que viver. Eu falo, não, você tem que morrer mesmo. Não. Acho que, pô, ela preparou tudo. Acho que ela tem que fazer o que ela acha que é certo. Eu não vou é, pedir isso pra mim, sabe? Eu não sei como é viver algo parecido com o que ela tá passando, então definitivamente não faço ideia. Eu vou aqui.
If anyone would know about the mysteries of love, you would know. Only you can decide. Lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment, lost in a song. Lost in a moment. Lost in a moment.
Ok, ela se foi.
Lost in a moment.
Ok.
Are you?
I'm fine. I'm still myself. I thought there'd be something more, that I feel her presence, but she's just gone.
She'll be back. But she'll also be you. She'll be different.
I'll try to be ready. I promise.
Porra. Ah, vai passar por
You'll
isso.
get through this, both of you.
Vai conseguir.
Healing takes time.
Not if you keep resetting the clock.
Gersh is right. I'm not Lady Aphrodite. But eventually, she and I will be one. Together, we will get through this.
I hope you're right. Before we go, Aphrodite told me you wanted her help to learn about Calliope's death. I'm not my mother, but maybe there's something I can tell you. Do you have any suspects yet?
Porra, não. Ah, por que eu não peguei?
Not really, no. That's why I came here. I was told Aphrodite knew almost everyone.
She does. She did. If she suspected anyone else of being involved in Calliope's death, she would have mentioned something.
But she was suspicious of someone, and I have an idea who that could be.
Eu não consegui falar com ela, mas...
Thinking of Medusa, aren't you?
Medusa? Feita dela? Era o quê?
Wait, hold the phone. That chick who turns people into stone?
Yeah, that's the one.
Medusa works for Athena as, well,
Ooh.
as a watcher. That's how Lady Aphrodite described it.
Mother
Ooh.
always complained there was something wrong about Medusa, that she would be trouble eventually. Athena disagreed.
If you're gonna start looking into anyone, Grace, start with her.
Come now, Venus. It's been a long night. I'll get you home.
Thank you for everything, Grace. Truly. It was a wonderful song.
Ela pode não estar fazendo nada, mas a Medusa, que é assistente dela, trabalha pra ela.
Did they have anything helpful?
Maybe. What do you know about Medusa?
Medusa? That's a rather dark name to unearth. Are you thinking of seeking her out?
Precisa achar ela. Existe outra forma. Precisa achar ela.
Do you know where she is?
Not really, no. Medusa makes it her business to stay out of sight. Athena employs her as a spy master, a hound to do her bidding, a vicious hound at that. Athena's not likely to tell either of us where to find Medusa.
Oh.
I can't say for certain who would know. Are you all right, Grace?
Tô bem, não.
Troubled.
Afrodite passou por tanto. Acha. Tô pensando sobre as memórias da Calliope. Eu tô bem.
What you said earlier about Calliope's memories coming back.
That wasn't how I wanted you to find out. I'm sorry. If I might suggest, speak with Persephone about it when you get a chance. It might be good for you.
You think she could help? Persephone?
Persephone and I have our problems, but I can't deny she is insightful. She'll surprise you.
I might do that. Thanks.
How are things with Persephone? Is she helping as much as you thought?
Gosto dela. Você tá preocupado? I like her.
I kind of like her. Way more than I thought I would. Why?
All I mean to ask is, has she said anything?
About...
No. Never mind. It's none of my business. Please forget I asked. Give my regards to Persephone when you see her.
Tá bom. Tá bom, então. Tá bom, então. Beleza, então.
Apollo. Always so dramatic. Well done, by the way. And cheers to you, Aphrodite. You shall be missed. For a few years, at least.
O captive from me. Tem piada. Eu tô tomando também. Você tá certa sobre isso? Eu tido coisas que você tá certa sobre.
I still don't know if I did the right thing.
Well, it was never up to you, Grace. The choice has always been Aphrodite's. She's been in hell since the war. And you were only a visitor. I remember the last time I passed on my Eidolon. 1952. I was married to, well, let's say you'd call him a gangster. More of a thug. A mean, vicious little thug. Persephone saved me from him. Tore his head clean off. but not before he fired a shotgun into her chest. My chest? Whatever.
Você lembra dela? Você tá me falando isso? Isso parece o Alfo. Toda hora eu esqueço o que é o Alfo. Horrível, horrível. Todo dia esqueço o que é o Alfo. Por que você tá me falando isso? Você lembra dela? O que você tá me falando?
Why are you telling me this?
We all have our sordid history, our personal horrors, building up like sediment around our souls. You can't let it bury you, Grace. You are the only one who can keep your head afloat.
Da hora, obrigado. E você é incrível, mano.
You're incredible. You know that?
There's no need to be facetious, Grace.
No, really.
I am incredible. It's true. It's good that you recognize this.
Okay, I take it back.
Oh, you can't take it back, Grace. I would have thought you'd learned that by now.
Ela tá brilhando.
After centuries of cruel injustice, everybody working against me, every idol but for one, violent with apathy. We couldn't reach a resolution, but you and I'm queen of the underworld, and you grace.
Okay.
Something seems familiar about you. Have we met some lifetime ago? Gods like me don't have too much to hope for. The rules been fixed throughout the ages, so I have forged a daring path. I would like to make some changes. You see, we can win a revolution, you and I. I'm queen of the underworld, and you grace, you.
Eu não sei. Nós duas somos lutadoras. Eu vejo em seu coração.
You're lost.
Não sei pra onde eu estou me levando, mano.
The first time we met, you called me that.
Deus, ela é tão alta.
And now I understand. Show it or not, I see your heart. You've got one big mouth on you, don't you? Yet it's me who's closing in. Think I like that mouth on you, won't you? You've overstayed your welcome.
Quase.
Time to go home.
Quase.
Get out of here, Grace.
Quase. 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 Falar com a Freddy. Vou falar com a Freddy. Vou falar com a Freddy, vou falar com a Freddy.
Hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse.
Meus.
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I went to a party held by the goddess of love. And she died.
Estourou
Man,
tudo.
I always
Desculpa,
miss the
perdão.
really good parties. Here I was, sitting at home, just reading a book. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Okay, well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
Como é que tá o Cass e o Brian, cara?
What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Then where is Kaz Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
O que você
Exactly
sabe?
how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddy?
I know
deuses.
my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today. Or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might be useful. There's gotta be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
Perguntar sobre Apolo. Perguntar sobre Calliope. Pergunta pra todo mundo, eu acho. Por
Do you know
Calliope
anything about the
primeiro.
muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, for starters, there were supposed to be 9. Though I guess there are some sources that said there were only 4, maybe 3. Each of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Wow. I don't even like poetry.
Yeah, it was said her singing voice was unmatched. So they got that part right, at least.
Did she also lead the ancient Greeks in giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of snobby princesses into magpies, so there's that.
Ok. Pergunta sobre
What about
Athena.
Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior goddess. She was
Sim.
also the goddess of heroes. There are loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, guess not. Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is why Athena was portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She turned people into spiders, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Not being as wise as advertised is on brand for her then.
Pergunta
What
sobre
about
Apolo.
Apollo?
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked
Okay.
about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a
Uh-huh.
rough time since those days.
Well, he was also a giant horn dog, Grace. I can list off like a dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't they all like that, though?
I mean, Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan. And no, they aren't all like that. Our sun god had a reputation.
Tem o ciúme do Apolo, né? Tô sentindo. Ah,
Tell me what you know
Persephone.
about Persephone.
Honestly, she's the least like her stories. Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or both.
And that's it? She was kidnapped by Hades, end of story?
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right, that doesn't sound like her at all.
Must be hard to be defined by this one thing that happened to you thousands of years ago. I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. That much is true.
Sobre Pan.
You said Pan was some kind of lust god, right?
Yeah, kind of. Pan's a god of the wild, and I guess that translates into a sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's exactly what I'd expect him to be. All the stories say he's a lech and a beast. The Christians equated him with the devil.
Caramba.
Weirdly, he's also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why. Anyhow, there's a great statue depicting Pan having sex with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
Sobre os
How many of
ídolos.
these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
I sort of assumed it was related to the eidolon.
Which is a Greek word, but I think it means ghost. An image of someone after they die.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus and Hades, most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost. But also, what might still be out there.
Os outros
Think there might be
deuses.
other gods out there?
Well, there are all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know? Then there are all the other mythologies, hundreds of cultures, each with their own pantheon. So what's so special about the Greeks? That only their gods are real, right? All those other pantheons could be living in secrecy, just like the idols. And that means they're hidden from each other, too. Oh, they could be everywhere and no one would know.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
That's cool, right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day. Or maybe Lakshmi?
Tá bom.
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all this, but even they rarely agree with each other.
Really? Nothing definitive?
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
You know what I find weird?
Acho que eu
That the
eu estou
idols have
guardando
managed to remain
segredo.
completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you could have real evidence that UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline. Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Weird conspiracy ones. Yeah, you're right.
Ok. E desculpa sobre a
I
banda.
should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Ugh, I still really hate that name.
Look, Grace, you can't be the source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
Okay, that's enough questions for now.
You sure? I can talk all day. You know I can.
I'll check back with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Ok. consigo falar com ela. Eu quero tentar falar com ela pra terminar. Mas eu acho que ela vai me expulsar. Ela vai me mandar aí, sei lá. Ela tá brava.
Ah, Grace, there you are. Did you end up going to see Pan after all?
He asked me to repay the favor I owe him by helping someone at a place called the Reliquary.
Ah, fala sobre isso, ok.
That's normally off limits to idols. How will you even gain access to it in order to do this favor for him?
He gave me a key.
Well, who knows where he got that? It all seems rather suspicious.
Eu não sei por que tá ficando tão baixo às vezes. Geralmente do alto. O jogo tá esquisito. Mas vamos lá. I agree. Eu vou ficar bem, eu vou.
That seems harmless, if you ask me. I'm sure I'll be fine.
Perhaps. And Pan recruiting you into his mischief does present an opportunity. Hecate runs the reliquary and has considerable knowledge at her disposal. She might assist your investigation, provided it's written in her bloody book.
Her book?
You'll see. On a different matter, I've had time to do some thinking. After Aphrodite's party, we never really spoke about the Eidolon and Calliope's memories. No doubt you have many questions.
Apollo told me a little about it. He did say I should talk to you, though.
Did he now? Is there anything you'd like to ask?
Ao mesmo tempo que você morreu, você se sente diferente? Tipo. Eu me sinto diferente.
When all these memories start to
Nada.
return, will I feel different?
First, you'll have dreams. Places you've never been, people you've never met. But unlike with normal dreams, these will linger. Then they will come while you're awake. Sudden flashes or snippets of déjà vu. And sometimes it will seem so real you'll swear you're hallucinating. If there's anything difficult about the process, is that it becomes hard to differentiate between your life and all these other lives you're now recalling.
It does sound confusing.
Confusing and often unpleasant, as not all the memories will be fond ones. But that will pass in time.
Ok. Tem que se lembrar da minha.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Oh, how do I explain this? Grace, would you say that you are who you are because of your experiences?
Sim.
The things you've lived and done?
I guess so, sure.
Well, all the things Calliope has done, and those before her, will now be yours. They will feel like a part of your life as well. Thus, they can't help but shape you. The Grace that is now will be and will have done so much more. Fortunately, you don't have to deal with every memory. Each time the Eidolon passes on, the oldest memories fade, and that helps.
Sim. Como tá perdendo as memórias é uma coisa boa.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
Think of how old we are, Grace. If all those memories returned to you with perfect clarity, they would destroy you.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Well, far more than we remember. The further I think back, the more it becomes a bit of a blur, actually. You'll recall important moments. Some will be mixed up with the stories mortals tell, and you won't be sure which is the memory and which is the story. An idol's memory is a series of islands in a dark ocean, and they become smaller and smaller as they recede into the horizon. It sounds dire, but you become accustomed to it. It just takes time, and now you have all the time in the world.
Faz quanto tempo que você morreu?
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
We call it passing on. I've lost track of just how many times I've passed on my Eidolon. A dozen? It's happened less often in more recent eras.
And the one you told me about, the woman married to that gangster, she was the most recent?
I don't think of Chastity as a she. That was me, just as the one my husband blasted with a shotgun was also me. It was one of the few times I wasn't able to prepare my successor. We were friends, yes, but I didn't know what Persephone was, and I had no idea what I'd just become.
That must have been difficult.
It was more difficult taking over my dead husband's territory. Women weren't often mobsters in those days.
Ok. Você é realmente uma
Were
gangster?
you really a gangster? I've heard it said, but it sounds...
Let me put it this way. I felt as if I'd been blessed by a dying woman who saved me from a prison of my own making. I didn't know what I was, but I was free. I felt more alive than I'd ever felt before, and strong enough to toss an ox 10 feet. Did I set out to become a mobster? Not exactly. My husband's friends thought I'd murdered him, however, so they came after me. And one thing led to another.
Oh, I see.
Athena found me just as my memories were starting to return. I wasn't permitted to continue doing something so noticeable, so I was carted off to Olympus. It's too bad, really. I was an excellent mobster.
É possível morrer pra sempre?
Wait, you said that Persephone passed on her eidolon as she lay dying. What if she had just died?
The eidolon will keep us alive for a time, even in the most horrific circumstances.
Acho que você não passa alma pra ninguém, né?
What if there isn't? What if Chastity had died before you were shot?
Well, then the line of Persephone would have ended then and there. Oh, there are some stories that say an eidolon will go wandering, that it never really dies. And who knows if there's any truth to that. It's not exactly something we've had the opportunity to study. All we know is that many idols have left us forever. They've died, and that's how it happens.
It's
Ok.
a lot to consider. Assuming I'll even have time to worry about it.
Either the trial will end poorly, in which case all of this is moot, or it will end well, and you will have plenty of time to digest.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
I'm a realist, Grace. It's what I'm best at. Now then, unless you've something else to ask.
Falar sobre o
Are you
Hades.
willing to talk about Hades? If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just...
Incredibly curious how I ended up murdering my husband.
that, yeah.
You know, one might think that my hatred of Hades began when he kidnapped me and forced me to be his bride. But honestly, that wasn't it. I hated my brothers and sisters for letting it happen, but Hades himself terrified me. He had a presence. I mean, one that forever made him the most important man in the room. And me? Oh, I was nothing in comparison. When Hades began doting on me, trying to earn my favor, I swooned that he might deign to think of me that way. For centuries, I actually thought I was in love, that the kidnapping was the best thing that ever happened to me. It's funny how our perspectives change.
Eu falar sobre os ídolos, falar mais sobre a Calliope. Algo mudou entre você e o
You
Hades?
got along with Hades for so long. What changed?
I did. I grew up. I was a trophy for Hades. A conquest that he expected to remain meek and unchanging forever. He went out of his way to keep me small. I slowly realized that, he'd always been that way. Manipulation and arrogance behind the handsome sneer. We battled for centuries. I hated him, and I told him so, but he refused to part with me. He declared that I was his and would stay in the underworld where I belonged.
And that's when you killed him?
That's when I killed him, yes. The first time one idol had ever murdered another. Thank you very much.
Caramba. Caramba. Pô. Você foi punido por
I'm guessing the
botagens?
other idols weren't thrilled with you killing Hades.
Well, yeah, they didn't know what to do with me. And Athena was furious that the most powerful remaining idol had been lost. See, this was before the war and before all the new rules. The chorus had never once contemplated execution, but they certainly considered it then. In the end, they decided it was better to humiliate me. They ensured I did not benefit from Hades' murder, and stripped the throne I had wrested from his grasp.
Which you weren't happy about.
I asked them where they were all those years while I pleaded for help. I was held captive, and what was I expected to do? Would lie down and take it forever because Hades was more useful to them alive? No. I stopped doing what was expected of me the day I slit his throat. May he rot in Tartarus with the Titans for all eternity.
Caramba. E daí você terminou vindo pro nightclub.
How did you go from ruling the underworld to opening a nightclub named after it?
I won it in a bet with Dionysus, god of merriment.
Okay, there has to be a story there.
Well, the story is that he was a fool, but a charming one with many patrons. They built him a nightclub as his personal playground. And it was a grand old time for Dionysus in the 1970s, I assure you. But he didn't know how to run a business. By the time disco was ready to die, so was his stupid club. So I offered to make it profitable. If I succeeded, he would turn ownership over to me. He accepted because, frankly, all he wanted to do was drink anyhow. I was successful. The club became mine, and I kicked Dionysus out for never paying his tab.
Sucks to be him.
Dionysus ever sobers up, he might decide to be sore about it, but so far, that hasn't happened.
O seu acordo com o Apolo, me fala sobre
Tell
a
me more about
Calliope.
Calliope. You and her were good friends, right?
We were.
Good friends.
And if you had told me a decade ago that I would become close to one of the muses, I would have laughed in your face. I always considered them Apollo's creatures. Calliope, Clio, and Talia. Vapid, frivolous gods who handed off their idol on to any artist who took their fancy. Every time I met one of them, they were someone else. Apollo called them the Sisters of Beauty, no matter their gender. Can you imagine that? That's such a stupid name.
I never thought of that. Do idols change gender a lot?
Well, we tend to seek out successors like ourselves, but it happens. With the muses, it happened frequently. Everywhere Apollo went, they surrounded him like a gaggle of ducklings, just like him to gather his own fans.
Como você terminou End Up Friends?
If you disliked the muses so much, how did you end up becoming friends with Calliope?
Ah, como é que
She
você...
sought me
Okay.
out. She'd become more and more unhappy on Olympus, so she
Ah, ela
decided
saiu do
to leave
Olympus, né?
just
Faz
as I had,
sentido.
long before. Calliope asked for my help, and I laughed in her face. Go ask one of your sycophant mortals, I told her. I mean, surely one of them has some threadbare couch you can sleep on.
Wow.
Typically, she was undeterred. She didn't just want a place to stay. She said she wanted to learn how to be truly independent from an idol who had mastered it. What can I say? I mean, I am a sucker for a well-timed compliment. I took her in. Apollo was furious. He and Calliope were barely speaking, but he was certain she'd come crawling back to Olympus. Oh, it made taking her in all the sweeter.
Ok. Você e Calliope eram...
After you took Calliope in, that's when you became
Eu tô
friends?
atualizando pra caramba. Tenho papo pra caramba com
Not
ela.
right away. I wasn't looking for a friend. What I was looking for was an opening act in the club. Calliope entertained here for years, and then eventually turned from performing to attracting new acts. She was in her element. She and I, well, we warmed up to each other eventually. She was more capable than I expected, and I adored her furious rants.
Calliope
Tenho
didn't
quase
seem
certeza
like
que
the
elas pegavam.
furious type when I met her. That's hard to picture.
Oh, then you didn't really meet her. She was an idealist, and nobody could ever quite live up to her standards for very long. Her brothers and sisters, least of all. The idols needed to change, she said. They were withering away in the shadows, diminished and unwilling to save their own skins. When I joined the chorus, she expected me to change everything, as if I could single-handedly override Athena. I was to be her champion, and together we would bring revolution to the idols. Well, I was yet another disappointment. She left the club, but I gave her a place to live. We were supposed to stay in touch, but you know how it went from there.
O que aconteceu com as outras
What happened to
musas?
the other muses? You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
One of them was, though not like you think. The day we were to leave on the ship, Talia simply never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never heard from her again. Apollo thrashed about in mourning, but Talia had been fading away for years. It wasn't a surprise to the rest of us.
What about the other muse? Cleo.
Died long before. A victim at the hands of a mortal man, when she no longer possessed the power to bedazzle him. As I understand it, he kept her in a cage as a pet until her eidolon shriveled up and perished. He was dead before she was.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
Yes, well, we come by our wariness of mortals honestly, Grace.
Tá acabando, tá. Me fala sobre o
What's
acordo
the
com
deal between you and Apollo?
o
The
Apolo.
way you two fight.
I've told you how he and the other idols stood by and let me rot with Hades, did I not?
It seems more personal than that.
Okay, there's an old saying that no one escapes the underworld. But that's not true. I did. Once. Not long after Hades kidnapped me. I was homesick, and I missed my mother. Charon took pity on me and allowed me across the Styx. And after that, Grace, I waded through darkness itself to get out of there. Hades chased after me relentlessly, but I evaded him, right up until I got to the very slopes of Olympus. And who do you suppose was the first idol I met?
Uh-oh.
Apollo stood there. I cried out to him, begging him not to let Hades take me, and yet Apollo did as he has always done. Absolutely nothing. Hades was thrilled, and I knew then and there I could never rely on my so-called family for anything, ever again.
Ok. Me fala sobre os
I'd like
ídolos.
to know
Por
a
favor,
little
não
more
seja
about
muito
the
texto.
idols. I am one now, right?
What constitutes a little more in this instance?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
Ah, The big question. To which the answer is, nobody knows. I remember the original Persephone only vaguely. Indeed, I'm not even certain she was the original. Was there something before her? How did she get her idol on? I couldn't tell you. Evidently, we wrote little down in those early days, or were forbidden to, and our memories only stretch back so far. Anything beyond that simply isn't.
Entendi. É como que você não sabe de onde você é.
Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Aliens? Grace, you watch too many movies.
Gods are okay, but aliens are just wacky fiction.
Fine, yes. It is strange. No, our earliest days aren't the only blanks in our memories, however. We have many. And the last was the day Zeus called us all together to tell us Rome had fallen.
Zeus.
And we should prepare for war. But did that war occur? I couldn't tell you. The last thing I remember after Rome was 1,000 years later, in the 16th century. I was in a different body, feeling as if no time at all had passed. Athena calls that period the gap. That's what it feels like. All of us experienced it, and not one of us knows why or how.
Fala sobre esse tal gap.
The gap you mentioned. What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or?
I wasn't asleep. I lived. I had lives. I passed on my eidolon. I may have known who I was and what I was, but perhaps I was completely unaware. All I know is that one day, Athena came to my nunnery, near Trieste, I think. The moment that I saw her, all the old memories came flooding back. My life during the gap was wiped away in an instant, and it never returned. If someone did that to us, they were powerful indeed.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena woke up on her own, or so she claims, and spent the next century rounding up those idols who remained. Zeus, however, was gone. What became of him, what happened in Rome, we've never pieced it together. It's troubling.
Sobre a guerra.
Tell me more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
That's putting it mildly.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
Honestly, after my mother was murdered, I barely remember.
Your mother?
Her name was Demeter. Not truly my mother, but an idol who had always cared for me since the early days. I thought we'd be together forever. Then Ares brought those filthy bastards down on us. Demeter was slain by bullets. By bullets. Until that day, I believed we were untouchable.
I'm sorry.
Why would Ares do that? Did he get anything out of it in the end, or?
What he got was a final death. A few of us hunted him down and made sure he paid for his betrayal. He choked on his own blood. As for why he did it, who knows? He thought us a lost cause. He wanted glory. He wanted more than we had, living in secret. After that, I don't know. We went from hiding place to hiding place. I didn't even know what Hephaestus had done for us when I found myself on a boat. We might have been gods once, but after the war, we were just refugees, like so many others, fleeing to a distant land.
É difícil viver. É difícil viver nesse novo mundo.
Was it
Ir pra
hard
esse
for the
novo
idols to
mundo.
come to the new world? It's just a place like any other, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't the place that was hard, it was the fear. We knew we were vulnerable. We knew mortals could and would kill us. Suddenly, There were rules, you know, we had to be secret, we had to stay close together. We huddled in the shadows and quaked each time the mortals so much as breathed in our direction. We couldn't all live that way. Some of us drifted away, faded into the night without so much as an explanation. That's what's been the hard part. Our inevitable decline in a place where we don't belong. We can pass on our eidolons as often as we like, but it will never truly be home.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around?
Oh yes, that's where I'll be. Around.
Ok, finalmente. Falei pra caramba com ela. Deve ter coisa pra caramba que eu desbloqueei com ela aqui. Imagem dessa tal medusa. Caramba, medusa. Peguei um spoilerzinho. Depois eu vou dar uma lida. Mas só depois. Eu peguei texto pra caramba com ela. Na próxima parte. Eu tento ler um pouquinho por cima do que a Grace escreveu. Sobre as novas informações que a gente recebeu. E a nossa próxima missão é ir atrás da tal do tal relicário, né? E encontrar um amigo ou amiga do Pen. Oh, é isso. Até a próxima. Até algum dia, na verdade. Até algum dia. Vou voltar pra início aqui, assim. Até algum dia.